welcoming my brother. He's no stranger to you, the Southwestern Regional Minister of the Nation of Islam from Houston, Texas, our brother, Brother Halim Muhammad.
Cause I got force in my wall. Force in my wall. Cause we got force in my wall.
Assalamu alaikum, peace be unto you. Welcome to Connect the Dots. I'm your host, Brother Student Minister Dr. Abdul Halim Muhammad. And this is the nighttime edition of Connect the Dots, and we're so happy and pleased today to have a very special guest. This program is really rooted in, my brothers and sisters, my desire to get something off my chest. And what is that, Brother Muhammad, that you have on your chest? What I have on my chest, brothers and sisters, is the fact that I love the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I love his teacher, our eternal leader, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I love Master Fard Muhammad, our Savior, who traveled 9,000 miles to seeking to save that which was lost. What I don't like, as a man who earned a PhD, is I don't like secondary and tertiary sources being used to tell our story. And in part, it is our fault for not telling our story. We tell it orally, but we let others go into the libraries, others who quote others, That's when I say secondary and tertiary sources to tell our story. For someone to go into the FBI files to tell our story, already knowing that J. Edgar Hoover saw us as a threat. Why would I go to that source when the very motive of that source is tainted? When I look up people who do not believe or don't even give the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad the benefit of the doubt that he believed that he met with God. Maybe they didn't believe it, but they don't even believe that he believed that he met with God. Yet they paint the picture of the Nation of Islam as being a charismatic character cult or something that is other than what we claim to be. Well, during our celebration of Kwanzaa, there is what you call Kuji Chagalia, which is self-determination, the ability to define yourself, the ability to determine the direction of your own life. And so tonight, we're going to, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, the good takes care of itself. But tonight, we intend to correct the wrong. Before I introduce my guests, I want to introduce to you a little short video, a little vignette, if you will, that I want to play for you to kind of give you a little flavor of what's going on. You say, well, okay, before I set this up and I introduce our guests, which many of you who are tuning in already know who I've got in the studio waiting to talk to you, because you can see her picture right here in the mind of an entrepreneur. You know what I'm talking about, our Sister Sajdah Wendy Muhammad. But before I bring her on, live on Connect the Dots, I just want to show you what I'm talking about. This is required reading, the autobiography of Malcolm X. I met C. Eric Lincoln when I was in college. He wrote this book, which is supposed to be the seminal study on Black Muslims in America. Recently on television, we saw this book, we saw this movie, Blood Brothers, so I went on and got the book. And the first thing I usually do is I go back to the bibliography to see what their sources were. I was so disappointed. Then you have books about the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the original man, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You have books by theologians such as the respected Dr. James Cone. He writes about Martin and Malcolm in America as if the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is a side player. You have them writing books about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. But believe it or not, this book is pretty balanced. You see, I had to hesitate to say that. And then you have others who write books who a little bit more positive about us, about black Muslims in the law, and how it is the Nation of Islam who is indeed political, but our politics was filing lawsuits in prisons so that we would be able to change the prison industrial complex to accommodate our faith tradition. Then you have books written by a professor. I think he lost his tenure at the college. Those who know don't say. The Nation of Islam and the Black Freedom Movement and the Carceral State, talking about, again, incarceration. Then you have books talking about those who shielded their dirty religion in fact, the Nation of Islam, talking about we was the Black Mafia. And then there was another one who did a definitive study on the Nation of Islam, but instead of calling the Nation of Islam, he called it Black nationalism. Now, I bring all of that up, brothers and sisters, because these are other people writing about us, and they don't necessarily see us as us. So we have to go to authentic primary sources, okay? So the table talks of Honorable Elijah Muhammad, his voice, his words, his context. The writings of, or the editions of The Invisible Truth from Brother Demetric Muhammad, from, of course, the Westchester Observer articles, the articles of the Pittsburgh Courier, the New Amsterdam News. These are primary sources of the writings and the voice and the words of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Then there are more people who write very positive about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in terms of his education, educational system. Elijah Muhammad, Ideas for Black Education. This is a book I picked up. I mean, I was in college when I got this book, Elijah Muhammad on African American Education. This is Educational Leadership and Louis Farrakhan, written by Abdul Petrie, and another book by Brother Abdul Petrie on Introduction to Elijah Muhammad Studies. These are people who studied us, and they give the Honorable Elijah Muhammad the benefit of the doubt that he believed what he believed and taught what he taught. So tonight, brothers and sisters, we're going to talk about a project that is so near and dear to the heart of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because it is part of the very essence of him meeting with, being guided by, talking to, breathing and sharing the same time and space as our teacher, our beloved, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It is the house at 4847 Woodlawn. There are so many luminaries of civil rights, Black power, arts and culture that have met at that house, that is our history. It must be preserved, not just for us, but for our children and those generations yet unborn. So I'm going to play a little film for you, then I'm going to bring on our guest who is waiting backstage anxiously to talk to you and me. And so we're going to play a short video, and we'll be right back with you for more Connected Dots. All right, welcome back to Connect the Dots, and our guest, she is a conscious entrepreneur, a multi-million-dollar business developer. Oh, here we go again. Hold up. She is the project manager of the renovation of the former home of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, 4847 Woodlawn. She is the project manager, the investor, the developer, and I'm proud to have her on Connect the Dots so that we can now preserve our history. Again, take yourself off mute, sister, because you look like you got yourself on mute here. Let me unmute your mic.
That's you got me on mute.
Oh, assalamu alaikum, sister.
Wa alaikum salam, sir. How are you?
I'm well by the grace of Allah, Sister Sajdah Wendy Muhammad. And I
Yeah.
just want to say, after watching the Malcolm X movie and wanting to throw my shoe at the television every time it comes on, Black History, because there's so many things, some artistic liberties that Spike Lee took with Malcolm X's book, his very book. The Godfather of Harlem, this fictional thing. Malcolm got them FOI looking like clowns. Who killed Malcolm X? Casting these aspersions on us. Never, it's always just these suggestions. Ken Burns, Muhammad Ali, it's good things about it, but then there's some subtleties that if you're not sharp, you won't catch them. And Blood Brothers, of course, with Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X, which I thought was a pretty fair representation. And they did place Malcolm X's apology and things like that. But there's so much that is lost because people don't know our history, and we haven't done so much of a good job to tell it. And now the house at 4847 Woodlawn has been made available after sitting there and deteriorating for years. Why don't you tell us that story, sister, on how you got involved with this project? You were happily skipping along, doing the things in life, and all of a sudden this opportunity literally snatched you instead of you snatching it.
Man, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah and that Muhammad is his messenger. So, assalamu alaikum to everyone. You know, you started off talking about these shows, and I generally don't watch these shows because two reasons. One, I don't like the way they portray the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I don't like the fact that they leave Minister Farrakhan out of it altogether. But more recently, you know, my mother keeps me up on it. You got to look at this. You got to, you know, so she nudges me, and I started watching them. And I see the tricknology, and I see the attempt to trick us and make us think that the fruit doesn't have a tree. And so they want you to look at the fruit and say, look at the fruit. And they go back to this person's birth, but they don't talk to you about who made the fruit and how fertile is the tree. They don't tell you about that. And so when you look at this, you just think that there was just these great people and they were skipping along, and that all of a sudden the Honorable Elijah Muhammad interfered in their relationship or interfered in a negative way in their lives. And it's unfair, and it's just not true. It's deception is what it is. It's the extension of Willie Lynch, the extension of Yaqub's mind. So that has always bothered me, and I've always seen that. And so when I had an opportunity, yes, I was minding my business, being a business developer, traveling around the world, building businesses, consulting and coaching executives. And I had just, with my business partner in Maryland, built a micro hospital that it took me 4 years to build. So I thought I was just going to chill for a minute. And during the time when Brother Lewis Jr., may Allah be pleased with him, his janazah came, I was told about the home being available for sale. And I thought, all praises due to Allah. Good. Think the family should own it. We should begin to be able to come there, tell our story. And that's it. That's all. And they communicated with me a little bit throughout. I was not comfortable with the direction um, thematically of it. So, but I wish them the best, and I said all praises due to Allah. So, Brother Abdul Halim, as a developer, and you know this as a developer, you have these websites that you can subscribe to, like auction.com, there's DealStream, there's foreclosure.com. There's all these different, and I subscribe to all these sites. And so they send you different things that are popping up. You put in a zip code, like I can say, send me everything that's jumping off in New Orleans. So I put in Chicago, even though I was living in Maryland, because Chicago's always been home for me. I really was just in Maryland for business. And I get to the office one day, and up on the side of the screen, a lot of people have heard this story. I won't go too deeply into it, but pops up foreclosure.com, the little alert says 4847 South Woodlawn Avenue. You know what I said, Brother Minister?
What?
I said, I'll be goddamn.
Wow.
Excuse my language, y'all, because I knew what that meant. I said, they don't got it. And that means the time is short. Now, I'm preparing that week to go to Africa on a trade mission, so I don't have that much time. And, long story short, I ended up jumping in, got the house, had to pay cash for it. They wouldn't give us any time. They wouldn't take a deposit. I tried to give them $50,000 to hold it. They wouldn't do that. I tried to get them to not sell it and let me get back so that I can get some clarity on what was happening. So as a believer, my back was against the wall. And this is the part that a lot of people don't think about. I love the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I love his teacher, who is my spiritual father. I mean, his student, who is my teacher and spiritual father, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And I believe that Allah came in the person of Master Farrakh Muhammad. Everything that I do and every success that I've had has been because I was raised up as a businesswoman under the minister, as a young woman working in the National Center and toggling between the National House and the National Center and Savior's Day and event planning. And so my whole conduct, my whole being, everything that I'm doing, everything that has made me successful has been hinged on these behaviors and this inspiration that I received from these three great men. So my back is against the wall because they said, you got 9 days. We're not taking a deposit. We're not doing anything. My first inclination was to try to get a loan, but I knew I was going to need some time. I didn't know what condition the house was in. I'd never been in it before in my life. And so I'm out over my skis, Brother Halim. I'm out into that magic space where it's just me and Allah. And I say, I don't even know what this place looks like. They want $745,000. My only thing I can do is to give these people this money because they're getting ready to auction it off, and they got 200 and some people who are getting ready to buy it on Monday. So long story short, I called my brother. He helped me out. We pulled it together. Even when my brother called them, they told him, well, who's the buyer? He said, my sister, Wendy Muhammad. They said, well, we don't want to talk to nobody else, Muhammad, about this house. And he said, what? Well, I tell you what, this Muhammad is serious. And so we went to work. I had to have faith. I had to give my brother power of attorney. He had to get it for me while I was in Africa. So when I was in Africa, they closed on the house, and he, my mother, and my sister-in-law FaceTimed me from the house. And my brother said, well, you got it, sis. I don't know what you're going to do with this thing. There were raccoons living in there.
Raccoons?
Big old raccoons living in
Big
the house.
old raccoons.
Biggest dogs.
Wow.
A medium-sized dog living in the house. I didn't know what was going to happen. So I had to get back to Chicago, and the rest is history. I got started, and I was preparing. I just said two things. I can't let this house go. Um, and I want to enshrine my father here with his father. And I was prepared to go at it alone because I didn't know what I was going to face. I didn't know what the journey was going to look like. I didn't know how difficult it was going to be. Um, by that time, I was, out of close to $1 million. And I just said, I'm going to keep going. I said, Dear Holy Apostle, I'm doing this in your name. I'm doing this. And I don't care who thinks it's stupid. I don't care who don't get it. I don't care who don't think I should do it. This is what I'm doing. I'm going to help.
So you let me repaint this picture again.
Go ahead and paint it.
You're in Africa. They FaceTime you. Your brother says, sis, we got the house, but I don't know what you gonna do with it.
Yes.
And when you get back, tell us the condition of the house. I showed some of the pictures in the introductory video, and I was grateful that you gave myself and student Western Regional Minister Abdul Malik Saeed a tour of the house, but it was daytime because there was no electric in the house. And it was a bit nippy in there because it was, I don't know, it was like February. It was.
Yeah, I remember I was looking at that video and I remember having on 2 coats. I had a coat and then another coat on top of it.
So what was the condition of the house? Tell us. How many stories is the house, first of all?
So the house is 3 stories plus a basement. And let me say this. I'm so gone in love over these 3 that I can really tell you that it was in that bad of a condition. Like, to me, it didn't look that bad. But I didn't realize that it was that bad until I started looking at everybody else's face. I was like, this ain't that bad. All we got to do is this or this. I don't know. The vision was so clear and was coming so quickly. But yes, there was no electricity, no HVAC, so no heating, no cooling. The plumbing was all but clogged. The roof was bad. The bricks on the outside was bad. There were positive aspects of it, but all the big things that cost money were wrong with the house.
So again, the house was deteriorating. It had been there for years. I mean, I've been visiting the palace, since the 80s, and the house has always been there. And so over time, it had deteriorated. Of course, anything, no matter how well built it is, and it's a well-built house. Mm-hmm. No matter how well built it is, those systems that you talk about, roofing systems, foundational systems, plumbing, electric, HVAC, HVAC, all of those systems, will deteriorate, or they need to be upgraded, particularly to bring a house up to code. Say it was just a brand new build, you'd have to bring all of those systems up to code, and most of it will not be grandfathered at that time. So you saw the thing. Then you talk about these raccoons. But let's do this. Our lessons tell us, why isn't the devil settled on the best part of planet Earth? And the other one asks, why do we let half original man Columbus discover the poor part of planet Earth? Let's talk about the positive side of them raccoons. What did those raccoons do for you and I?
So here's the beautiful side about the raccoons. Funny story. One day we were going to the house and I got ready to put the key in the door. And my brother said, no, sis, let me get it. And he opens the door. He said, Walter. I said, who are you talking to? He said, oh, that's the raccoons. He said, I named them the Walters just so they know we here. And I'm like, okay. Then I hire these special people who's supposed to be able to get these rodents. They can't get it. And then somebody says, just get some cages and put a marshmallow in there. We got all 5 of them. But what they did, brother, what they did for us, and this is why I look for Allah in everything. I was taught that as a very young Muslim. And they kept the other rodents out who would have eaten and chipped away at the wood. So when you go into a lot of these historic homes, what you see is along the baseline, like chipping, but it looks like bite marks. So what you find is they may be able to preserve 3/4 of the wall, but generally that bottom half of the wall, you see them replacing that wood and they end up staining it so that it matches the original wood. You'll see that with the plaster. In our particular case, the raccoons living there kept those types of rodents out. So the wood is almost pristine, not chipped, not bit up. The wood beams and the beams that are holding up the home are not rotted, even though the roof was bad. They're not eaten up and eaten through with termites and bugs and rats and mice. None of that. So what we really started to bring in, and I brought in experts, structural engineers. We brought in environmental engineers. We, all the experts that you bring in for that kind of property, and everybody was shocked at the condition of the property.
So we're gonna clap it up for the raccoons.
Clap it up for the raccoons. They promised me that they did not kill them. They promised me that they took them to the forest reserve and preserve, and I'm holding them to that.
All praise is due to Allah. Sister, when you talk about that, bringing in a structural engineer, bringing in an environmental engineer, bringing in these type of professionals, they don't come along. You can't be talking about, pro bono. They come, they start charging you when they get in the car and crank up their car. You're getting charged. You're getting charged per hour when they get in the car. Once they begin, whether you're at the site or not, you still owe them. If it takes 30 minutes to get there, and their fee, their fee is $100 an hour, you owe them $50 just for them driving, or getting in their car and going. That being said, sister, you're sparing no expense. You're talking about nearly out of $1 million sight unseen.
That's before we even touch the property.
So why would you spare no expense? Talk to me about that.
Because of who lived in that house and who graced those floors. None other than the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and what he means to us as a people, what he means to me, and what he means to the future of us as a people and to the future of the world. He doesn't deserve any expense being spared. And that's just how I saw it. Whatever experts we had to bring in and get in there to help us plan it out and put it together, this is a careful renovation and restoration. It's not a gut rehab.
Oh.
You see? So we're preserving any and everything that was there when the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was physically there, that we can. So even when we put in the electrical, we didn't rip out every wall. One of my contractors said to me, because we know Elijah's in the plaster. And so they were very careful to surgically put the electrical in. Took them 8 weeks to figure out how to get the HVAC in, because I said, I don't want ductwork run through the messenger's home. So we got to figure it out. Come up through the basement, down through the attic, stick those units in closets or something. I was blessed with a beautiful contracting team who understood in my presentation when I put the RFP out that this is sacred space. And later, during a conversation with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he said to me, you're right to call it sacred, because it became sacred when a God decided to move in. And so this is sacred space. And so everybody that works on this project has to understand and respect it as sacred and precious space. So when you look at something that's sacred, you don't spare any expense for that sacred space. You just don't. And I wouldn't be here. I would be a Negro woman were it not for this man.
What's beautiful is the comments that are coming in, sister, one of which is from one of the sons of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Brother Kamal Muhammad, the former National Secretary of the Nation of Islam. Wonderful testimony, sis. As a child, he ran around in that house. That house had that.
Let me tell you, Brother Kamal, along with Brother Wazir, was responsible for bringing me to Chicago. So they brought me from Indianapolis. When the minister spoke, I came out. I was introduced to them. At that time, I was an accountant and was working in public accounting. And they both said, we need somebody like you in Chicago. So God bless my Indianapolis family because they trained me and night and day. They stuck me in front of the orientation class because they said, if you can explain the teachings, you can understand the teaching, because you're not going to embarrass us when you get up to Chicago. And so Brother Kamal, I owe a special debt of gratitude to him because he and his wife, Sister Fatima, were very instrumental, along with Brother Wazir, in bringing me to Chicago and making my way smooth and really putting me in a position where I could learn and understand what it meant to infuse your Islam in business.
All praise
That was
due
the
to
birth of the
Allah.
conscious entrepreneur movement.
So you registered in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
You got your X. You recited. You did everything we had to do. You wrote letters. You didn't get a
I
special.
did all that. I did
You
all
didn't get no
that.
special pass.
I didn't get no special pass. And a matter of fact, Sister Virginia, who was our former captain, when I went to Indianapolis, when we went there for Brother Yusuf Muhammad's janaza, may Allah be pleased with him, she pulled out my original Savior's letter and my original pledge card.
All praise is due to Allah.
So I have that.
So look, beloved, oftentimes when I'm visiting your website, I'll see hashtag Elijah Muhammad or Elijah's house. I'll see Sajdah house. So let me better understand, because on some of your advertisements, some of the marketing, it says Sajdah house. And of course, your name is Sajdah Wendy Muhammad. So explain to us so nobody's confused that somehow, you've changed, you've been like McDonald's, you turn to McDowell's or something like that. You're doing, coming to America. Explain, sister, about that.
Uh-huh.
And I want to go there because it's one thing to build a project, it's another thing to sustain it and maintain it. If you make $1 million investment, you have to at least have, at the minimum, 10% operating costs to maintain what you put in there. If you put in new electric, new HVAC, new this, new that, you got to at least have 10% of your annual revenue coming in towards maintenance and upkeep, weekly, monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, and annually. So besides the house, Elijah house, come on and clear it up if there's any confusion in anybody's mind.
Absolutely. Let's start with you talked about that money piece. That $1 million was before we even touched the house. Here we are 3.5 years later. We're close to 4 million. Okay. So the house name. For me, I am so grateful and remain grateful. And at that time, I was just so honored that Allah would trust me with the home of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and put it in my hands. I said, well, what makes sense to me? What has helped me get to where I am? Because I've had some difficult times. If you've read my books, you know that. And so I said, it's been prayer. It's been prayer that has got me here. So when my mother asked me, what are you going to name the house? It's always been the Elijah Muhammad house, but spiritually known as Sajdah house. And then a few months later, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said to me, he said, Sajdah is the right name for the project and the right name for you. So he changed my name about a year and a half after I had gotten a house to Sajdah House. And so you will see marketing for both because it is both. It's the Elijah Muhammad House. That's the official name, and inshallah will be the official name on the National Historic Registry. But it's also spiritually known as, yeah, I see you looking, come on now. It's also spiritually known as Sajdah House. So, contrary to popular belief, I did not name the messenger's home after myself. It was named Sajdah House, and then the minister changed my name and gave me that name. And to this day, the name Sajdah House is a spiritual name that I want us to think about and embrace. And when we begin to talk about, when you get to that question, if you're going to ask me, some of the exhibits and what we're calling it, you will understand what I mean by Sajdah House when we talk about that piece of it. But I'll leave it there. I won't jump ahead, brother.
No, well, I got people chiming in right now and sending chats here and saying, please speak on your vision of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad
Okay.
concerning the home, sister. So, Brother
Let's do
Kashif
it.
has already asked that. That's one of them Cleveland questions. He asking that, brother, calling it. But I want to go to that national registry. You seen me light up like the 4th of July when you said that, because what do we need the devil for? What do we need his recognition for? Why do we need to make this a historical registry? What is that? What's that all about nationally in Illinois? What the heck we care about them? So talk about why is that important?
It's just like, why do you need a PhD? Why do you need, I know, I'm sorry. Why you Dr. Muhammad? Why do you need that? Why do you need that? You don't need that. But the National Historic Registry designation is the highest designation for renovation and restoration of historic homes because of what they do to determine whether or not you qualify. And one of the things they look at is the integrity of the home. Is the home authentic? And what is your preservation process? So this speaks to the careful and sacred way in which we are preserving the home. And when they came to visit us, they said they've never even seen anybody handle a home like that. This is the National Historic Registry, folks. Okay, representative. Why? Because we're just that serious about it. So that's the one thing. They look at the integrity of your home, your preservation process. They also look at the integrity of the home as it relates to a particular historic figure. And they say, okay, this particular home, what happened in this house? So when I started telling them that this home is the single most important piece of property in modern day African American history, and I start running down the list of guests and producing receipts with photos.
Receipts. You sound like them young people. I got receipts.
I have
You
receipts.
talk about receipts. You've been hanging with Brother Carlos and Brother Akbar and them, huh?
Brother Carlos, brother Imam Sultan Rahman, they provided me with receipts. One of the meetings, student minister Carlos actually was on there with me. And you know him, he ain't got no problem holding up receipts. So they said, oh my goodness, wow. So you see, every knock is a boost. Every one of these shows that attempts to leave the truth out is a boost because it just makes people more and more curious. So it gives us that opportunity when people come in from around the world. Some people only want to tour homes that are on the National Historic Registry. And then at the end of the day, you got our people who sometimes don't really feel like something is valid unless it's been certified. Now, if they don't do it, it don't mean the house ain't sacred. Don't mean that we changed what we're doing. We're going to put a plaque out there anyway. It just might not be a plaque from them because we know who he is. And just like the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan told me, and I've heard him also say publicly, that as he one day walked up the driveway with the messenger pointed to a tree and said, one day when they find out who I am, they're going to rip the bark off the trees. I said, well, we know who he is. So let's start ripping bark. We're not preserving nothing. We're gonna preserve everything. We're not throwing away nothing. Copper, wood, limestone. If we can't reuse it, windows, we can't reuse it, we keeping it. We're gonna do something else with it. We'll offer it to the public. But if this home, here we go, let's get metaphysical on them, Dr. Halim. If this home housed the messenger of Allah and his energy came through that home, what are the bricks worth that energy came through? What is the copper worth? What is the limestone worth? Because if we agree that Allah was communicating with him, and when you come, you want to talk about the vision, when you come to the home, this is a living museum. So we're not telling history in a chronological way. There will be some of that. But, like you hear history being told like it's a diary. Right. We're going to do it a little bit more like the original man. It's called a living museum because all of our exhibits, when we put that together, it's called He Lives. Why? Because we want you to see what made Malcolm X. What were the transformative qualities? See, because when you start talking about transforming somebody, you're talking about the work of God. We're not talking about putting a man's shoes in the corner. We're talking about you being able to come to a house and see an exhibit where you will hear excerpts from his voice to your ears through our partnership with the Table Talks. You will be able to see photos and artifacts through our partnership with NOI Archives. So when you are talking about what did he say on police brutality? Oh, we got that. Let's dial that up. What did he say about Black women? And when he talked about that subject, who was at the table? Oh, Senator Adam Clayton Powell. Oh, James Baldwin was here that day. Oh, wait a minute. Thurgood Marshall was here this day. Kwame Nkrumah was here that day. Well, this is what they talked about. And so we're talking about a living museum because we want to preserve the transformative power of Allah. See, our beloved brother Malcolm X is bringing people to the truth, even though he's not with us anymore.
That's right.
So when you come into that house, I want you to walk out the back door and say, wait a minute, where's Elijah? Is he alive? Is he here? Wait, let me go back and ask her. Where's he at? Because I came through this process in these exhibits and I feel transformed and transfigurated. And I'm a whole different person because of what I heard and what I saw. And now I understand what made this person and what made that person. Because the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is so powerful that his students oftentimes have more quote unquote star power than he does. But he doesn't mind. So when you go through there, you're going to be a different person. When you finish that tour, which we'll do both in-person tours, which there'll be a limited number of in-person tours, obviously because of the pandemic and because of the size of the home, but also offering virtual tours. Well, you'll be able to walk through virtually, click on a link, listen to what he said, look at live stream tours. There's some other stuff I won't give it all away, but for the most part, he lives.
You just giving out advertising, sister. We're gonna get some main meal.
Drop a few little bombs on it,
you know, Sister Sajdah, I am enjoying listening to you and walking in that vision. I had an opportunity, myself and Brother Abdul Malik, to walk with you as you were explaining these things. And, they got, it's not called 3D. What is that where they show, like Michael Jackson was dancing? So what do they call that?
Reality.
Yeah. So you're going to have the Honorable Elijah Muhammad literally there. Okay.
We're going to experience, let's put it this way. We're going to play around with a little augmented reality, with a little 3D video imaging.
Wow.
Oh, you're going to walk out of there saying, wait, where is he? Can I go meet him? Can I get his autograph? Because he just changed my life.
See, this is the place. You know, she just hit a couple of lists. We talk about James Baldwin. You talk about Kwame Ture, Stokely Carmichael. 1968. You know, I'm a little political science junkie. The Georgia delegation came to Chicago, the Black Georgia delegation. They didn't have any money to pay their fees to go to the convention. Mm-hmm. And this is what I mean when I start off talking about history and how they try to paint the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as being some kind of narrow-minded, myopic, cultish leader who was apolitical, ahistorical, was not international, was not universal, you know, in his thinking, and somehow his student broke from the straitjacket and all of a sudden now, you know, he left the straitjacket of his teacher. But when I go back and I read these writings that he wrote in the newspapers before there was a Muhammad Speaks, before there was a Mr. Muhammad Speaks that Brother Malcolm started writing and printing himself. He used to write in all the black newspapers. The Muslims used to sell the black newspapers because his words were in those papers. The pedagogy of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and many of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's ministers that were rocking America from one coast to another, they got their teachings by reading his articles in these black papers. And when you read these books they're edited by Brother Dimitri, you begin to understand he's talking about the black nation. He's talking about Asia. He's talking about Africa. But his focus was on us in America because we couldn't help somebody else if we couldn't help ourselves. But that didn't make him narrow-minded. And these writings are from the 50s, the 60s, before Malcolm broke out, before the printing of Message to the Black Man, Our Savior's Arrived, Fall of America, How Did He Live, Book 1 and 2. All of these writings are in here, which are, in many cases, Our Savior's Arrived, Fall of America, Message to the Black Man, How Did He Live, are compilations of articles that were already published.
Right.
In one case, John Ali, the National Secretary, is the one who took and did some editing. I'm not saying that he destroyed the content of it, but if you read it and you're going to argue with me or about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan deviating from the messenger, and you're going to quote that, you got to know the source of that. And then I'll give you an example. In the Pittsburgh Courier, in the December article, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad talked about who was it that who came to visit Yaqub in the jail. In Message to the Black Man, it says what? The king. But in the article in the Pittsburgh Courier, it says Allah came and visited him. That gives you a whole different context. Allah is a king, but Allah came and visited Yaqub in jail. Because he knew when they told him, that ain't that man's name. I know who that is. Let me go see him. So the importance of this house and what I'm saying we, because up there on my counter, I have my copper coin from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad house that I paid for. And it's made of the copper that comes from the house. And we made these coins. Look at that. This is the copper from the house, redone and made into coins. And these coins are being used, brothers and sisters, to help pay for what our sister is investing, not just for her pocket, but for our nation and for our babies and for my grandchildren. I had a community meeting today, so this is the first time I didn't go to my grandson's football game, and they had to explain to him why his pop-pop wasn't there. But they'll be able to take my grandson to Chicago and say, this is what your grandfather sacrificed to help rebuild.
Yes.
And you or whomever will be able to take them on a tour and be able to tell them this history. So it's not Ken Burns telling our history. It's not Spike Lee telling our history. It's not these others telling our history. It ain't the FBI files telling our history. It is us telling us. I guess that's what us telling us. I don't know if that's Ubu or but that's us telling us. So talk about those coins for a minute.
Can I
Go
just
ahead.
say something real quick?
Uh-huh.
It's time for us to own and monetize our own culture. And that's what I believe we will be the vanguard of with this house. The vanguard of owning and monetizing our culture and telling our own story, which is so very important. And for these people who want to say that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has deviated from the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad's teachings, let me tell you something. We have a youth team, a Sajdah House Table Talks youth team. And I'm going to give you a little hint. Those exhibits will be tying the words from the table talk of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad to the words of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in a very unique way.
Well, you teasing. You ain't right.
We're going to bring it on down to the modern times. So you won't be able to come in and say, oh, well, he said this, but somebody else said that, or Farrakhan says something else. We're going to put them right here together.
Praise is due to Allah. So tell us about those coins, and they're made out of the copper that comes out of the house. Why do you sell those coins? What are you doing with those coins, sister? So nobody think you're like Morgan the pirate or Blackbeard the pirate or something like that. We little cuckoo for Cocoa Puff, sister. So go ahead.
So like I said, we ripping the bark off the trees. And so we're not throwing away anything. So I ended up with mounds and mounds of these old copper. This is an old downspout. You probably recognize this as a downspout. And we thought about what to do with it. What can we do with it? And so what we ended up deciding to do was to make coins. Took me 3 months to find a foundry who would take these old pieces of copper and create coins. So the first thing we had to do was clean it. So you can see how this particular one is dirty and dusty. And so we had to clean it. And then we had to cut it. This process was so spiritual, Brother Halim. We had to clean it. We had to cut it. We had to bind it up and then have it melted at 1,983 degrees Fahrenheit. So they melted the coin. Then they created the mold based on the design that is on the coin. So on the front, it has his name, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We have 24 stars. This coin was designed by Brother Tory Muhammad of Bean Soup Times. And then with additional consultation from Imam Sultan Rahman and Brother Abnar Farrakhan. And I wanted something that we could sell that would be of value so that it could also help with cash flow. But we're not just throwing up a GoFundMe saying, give me some money and you don't get anything for it. Let me tell you, can I tell you a little bit about the packaging here?
Go ahead.
Okay. So when we first got the sample coins, I think you may have been there when I had the first sample coins. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan told me to make sure that I take everything to council. Talk to the messenger about it. So I do that. And so this particular day, we came up with the sample and I had gotten these beautiful satin Quranic colored boxes that the coin was going to sit in and have the logo in the back of it, like a nice velvety looking thing. And every decision, every little thing has to be taken to council. That's how I see it. I don't make a decision and just go, oh, I think I like that. And if I'm still not feeling anything clear, then I call the minister. And his beautiful guidance. Normally he'll give me his beautiful guidance and say, think over it. So that means I don't get the answer. I still got to figure it out. But this particular thing with the coins. I'd gotten it and I got a price for it and they scoped it out. I thought it was beautiful. And I said, we'll have this green box and we'll send it to people. And I said, the Holy Apostle, you like these coins? Do you like this packaging? And then I said, okay, Allah, this is the honest to God truth. I said, okay, Allah, if y'all don't like it, then make it clear and make it plain. And the next morning, people who were doing the packaging for me was in China. They had done sent me a email saying that the price was going to go up to $85 a package. I said, okay, well, there's that. Y'all wasn't feeling that green box, so I got to do something else. So I needed to call the refinery to let her know how, because she agreed to help package them. She never told me about this other potential process. And she said, no. So after the green box thing happened, I said, okay, then y'all got to let me know, because I don't know what to do now. I don't know what y'all want. So then the woman from the refinery called me and she said, do you want them graded? A little light bulb started going off. And I said, excuse me, ma'am, what's graded? And she said, grading is when they authenticate the material of your coin. So it'll prove that it's 100% copper. It will give each coin its own barcode and basically handle it like it's currency. And the light bulb went ding, 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 ding. And then I said, oh, you want this handled like currency. She said, and these people generally don't do coins. They don't grade coins that are not minted. Minted meaning that it's not issued by a government and can be used in commerce or for trade and exchange. She said, but they've agreed to make this exception for you.
Wow.
I said, okay, Allah, thank you. All praises due to Allah. Y'all made it clear and y'all made it plain. And every step of the way with this project, every single decision, that's how we communicate with each other on it. Like this, make it plain. Sometimes they show me stuff I didn't think of, and that's how it is. So these coins, we are selling them. You can go to the website. Actually, the website is sajdahhouse.com, not motoday.com. It's sajdahhouse.com. And I'm offering a discount. You can put in the discount code HEM4847. Maybe somebody can put that in the chat for us. Sajdahhouse.com. HEM4847 is the discount code. And you can get the coin for $375. Do it while supplies last, because it ain't like I have a whole bunch of copper. But this is copper from the messenger of Allah's home, the Lamb of God. Y'all saw Brother Abdul Halim hold his up. That's where this is from. So we all know copper is a conduit, right? If we know anything about spirituality, copper is a conduit. So when the messenger's in the home and the energy of Almighty God, Allah, is coming through the home, is coming through this copper. And it's here. So that's the coin story. That's how that came about.
So what is the timeline on two things? One, where are we in this national registry or Illinois registry? I saw some articles come out on September 22nd, the 90th anniversary of the meeting between the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Master Fard Muhammad. You were before a commission, a hearing on the House and it being registered. But you talk about, I'm not spooky and I don't do coincidence.
You can't make this stuff up.
But what happened when you were before the commission? Because let me say this to everybody that's watching. Don't think that everybody wants this thing to happen. I'm talking about in the neighborhood. Now, there are people who have legitimate concerns about traffic and different people coming in your neighborhood. I understand all that. But there's some people that that want to erase Elijah Muhammad, Louis Farrakhan from history, and they don't want this house to happen. And so you have to go to these commission hearings. Tell us about the commission hearing and the surprise that you got there when you thought maybe you'd have to pull out the long blades and start fencing.
Well, all praises due to Allah. Yes, on September 22nd, which was 90 years to the day that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad laid eyes on Master Fard Muhammad, we went before the commission, and the way it works is you have so our house is in the Kenwood district, which is already a historic district. So then you go before the local, which is your city, and then your state, and then national. In our case, we went for Illinois status first, and then Illinois recommended that the house be on the National Historic Registry because of course, the integrity of the house, but because of the impact on religion, our social culture, and our ethnicity, the impact of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad in those categories. So Illinois already made their recommendation. So we kind of did it backwards. We kind of came top down. We go before the city commission. We went before the landmark committee on the 22nd. We made our presentations, had our certified historical architect there. We had people who gave testimonies, and shout out to everyone who gave a testimony, especially Sister Kudisa Muhammad, my beloved assistant, who she threw down and she said, and I'm only 17. But others, Brother Jamil, Brother Amante from Father Flager's church, there were a number of different people who decided and that they wanted to give a testimony. We got a lot of letters in, hundreds of letters from around the country, congressmen, military people, friends, supporters, advertisers who want to support the home being placed on the National Historic Registry. So we get through the whole presentation, and I was a little bit jaded, and I had to apologize to Allah afterwards, because when we went before the county building the micro hospital in Maryland, there were a lot of people who looked like us that gave us a hard time. And I was using the N-word, which I won't use here on this illustrious stream right now. Okay. And so when the brother said, I got a couple questions, but I'm going to go ahead and let you speak, I said, all right, then bring it. Let's go. And I had to apologize to Allah, because when I finished, the woman said she loved the fact that I used the words sacred and precious, and she really appreciated that. And she was so excited about all the things, the historical things that happened in the house. But then the next person who said they had some questions, he held up a picture. And it was a picture of a bunch of Black men in the living room surrounding the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Really?
And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in the middle, and a bunch of brothers, and they were all locked arms like this. I actually posted it on Instagram. Sister said, where do you put the discount code at the checkout? So he said, I'm in this picture. I literally had just asked Student Minister Carlos, we got to find out who these brothers are in this picture. He said, I'm in this picture. He said it was a group of clergymen and part of a religious circle that had come to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad to talk to him about economic development. And he went on to talk about a lot of the different things that he had accomplished subsequent to that meeting. Then he held up a hard copy of the message to the Black man. He opened it to the front, had some words, and it was signed by Elijah Muhammad. He said he gave me this book and signed it himself. He said, so you asked for my vote? I say, yay. And I had to apologize to Allah for slacking in my faith and thinking that it was going to be some drama when brother said he had 2 questions, but really he had a beautiful testimony that he gave right in the middle of the nomination hearing. So on October 7th,
No,
which is the
no.
first anniversary.
Come on, wait. What's getting ready to happen? What's getting ready to happen? Wait a minute. What's getting ready to happen? The September 22nd. Now you say October 7th. Where you going with this, sister? Come on.
We go before the full commission, and that's the step before the final National Park District designation. On October 7th, on the birth anniversary of the messengers, of the anniversary of the messenger's birth on the October 7th.
Wow.
Can't make this stuff up.
I mean, and look, I don't do coincidence. I do mathematics, but I don't do coincidence. That is amazing, sister. All praise is due to Allah.
Shout
Brothers
out
and
to my
sisters.
sister Aletha, who's always the host when I get on these shows. People have questions. I've known this sister forever. We worked together in the National Secretary's office under Brother Kamal for many years. She worked for the minister for 15 years in the National House. And she's on the team and is just always there. Just look at her putting in the chat what to do, how to do it. So shout out to Sister Aletha.
Thank you. All praise is due to Allah. She says, I love you, sis.
Love you too, sis.
So in closing, Sister Wendy, again, give me an idea of a timeline. Okay, you told me October 7th, and then that's a next step. Then there's a next step after that. So
that next
how
step
about complete
October 29th? So October 7th, we go before the full committee. October 29th, it goes before the National Park District. So we're keeping the petition and all that open through that time. And as it relates to the opening of the home, on October 7th, we're going to do a live broadcast. We'll do like a virtual celebration in the back garden. We're not ready to let y'all inside yet, but in the back garden, we'll do a little celebration back there with a small group, but mainly we'll be broadcasting. And we've got some other events planned, which I won't announce yet, between now and Savior's Day. But inshallah, by Savior's Day in February, we'll be ready to receive our guests.
All praise is due to Allah. So you'll have it to completion enough and occupancy permit, et cetera, and so forth, to be able to lease for some folk to, inshallah, February. So brothers and sisters, look, we're dealing with the mind of not an entrepreneur, but an entrepreneur. And this book you can get from moetoday.com. Is that correct?
You can get it on Amazon.
On Amazon. So everybody's on Amazon now. Amazon's on Amazon.
Amazon, yeah. And shout out to brother student minister Jamil Muhammad, who's also been helping us with PR and strategy, and our team, Imam Sultan Rahman, brother minister Carlos, brother student minister Carlos, our youth team. Let me tell you, we got the most amazing group of young people who are really helping. Like I mentioned, Sister Kudisa, Brother Sultan Sadiq, Sister Medina, Sister Rahima, and I know I'm leaving out somebody, but they got a whole group of people, young brothers and sisters. I'm talking about young, and they are handling business. They are so motivated and so organized. I'm talking about young project managers who are handling their business. So, I'm just grateful, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan told me not to worry about where my help has come from. And thank you to people like yourself, Brother Abdul Malik, people like Brother Abnar and Brother Aaron, who are always there for security, people like our Supreme Captain, Brother Mustafa, who's just always there and being supportive, Minister Ishmael. It's just been amazing. We have an amazing IT team, Brother Tim, Brother Daryl. It's just Allah is just blessing us left and right, every step of the way. And I'm just grateful to Allah that He trusted me with this. And I just can't wait to show it to you all.
All praise is due to Allah. I know when brother Student National Secretary Saad Alim came
Yes,
down, he extended greetings from you to me. He had to
yes.
make me remember you.
That ain't right.
That
That ain't right. That ain't
He had to
right.
make
Yes,
me
brother. And
remember.
I'm
He said,
sorry,
"You
I
know,
left
sister,
brother Sod
yeah,
out
no,
too.
sister
But
Wendy, I do like that. You remember remember I told you about my sons, so I don't want to make no mistakes. But everyone knows it's Wendy.
let
But
me
we
let me just say this to you, formerly known as Brother Robert. You have always been a very consistent, strong brother, and I just remember that about you back in the day. And it was hilarious because you had been talking to me all this time, and we had done the consultation for the businesses and stuff like that, and you didn't even know who I was. So thank you, Brother Side, for helping jog this brother's memory.
You know something? I'm gonna tell all the brothers out there, women have egos too.
Yeah, Brother Kamal, can you believe that brother used to be Robert, did not remember who I am? I'm going to call you out on this because me and Brother Kamal was all down there putting together all the events, Sister Alita, all of us. Y'all fed us. I'm not going to bust you out. Okay. All
Thank you,
right.
sister. I'm suffering from Forgetzheimer's. You know,
Oh,
all them
forget
blows
my.
to the head, messing with those people from Howard University that keep putting stuff in my chat that I'm not gonna put up here because me and him went to, well, anyway, I
Uh-oh.
won't remind you
Who
what
is
Anthony
that?
did to Howard. I'm talking about this fella that puts this little symbol in here. You see this
Oh,
buffalo right in here? That's a bison from Howard University, and
Brother
he might put in
Jamil.
there I matey because I was a Hampton pirate, but
Okay.
you know,
Okay.
but that's what we do between one another. But it really is
Oh,
a
Brother
family.
Kamal said I always tried to hide you so people wouldn't steal you from the nation.
Yeah, that's true. But
So that's
everybody know
why you didn't remember. And that
that's what it
actually
is.
is true. Brother Kamal was very protective.
He certainly will. And Brother Real said HU, yeah, okay. Y'all the real HU, brother. My diploma, my degree says Hampton Institute. But look, we do
Oh,
want to go back to as we close, go back to the coin, how people can go to, and I'll find the website again. Go to the website, put in the discount code, and support this project, brothers and sisters. It is that kind of investment you want to make. It is the kind of keepsake that you want to have. It's one of those things you want to have. I put mine in a glass case, so it
hmm
would be here. It's just something that is really near and dear to my heart. And when I get a little extra change, I'm gonna go ahead and hit up and get me a couple more, and put in my lockbox for my grandchildren, so
right.
that they will have that and understand the tie to that house,
Yes.
and to be able to walk on that sacred property, on the sacred ground. I
Mm.
mean, brothers and sisters, you got to understand again that delegation from Georgia during the 1968 Democratic
Democratic
Convention,
convention.
when Mayor Daley set them police, there was a police riot. That convention was so historic. It took place in Chicago. The Georgia delegation didn't have enough money to register. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad paid that fee.
Mm.
He put security on Kwame Ture, Stokely Carmichael.
Andrew
You had
Young.
Muhammad Ali. You talking about all of these? You had before his assassination, you had Dr. Martin Luther King and Sister Coretta Scott King. May Allah be pleased with both of them.
Two
There,
meetings. Two
two
meetings.
meetings there, and at that home, sat with them at this home, had dinner. There are people that have been there, luminaries that have been there, and would and when this history is told, and as I say again, we got the receipts. We can tell you who was there. You'd be shocked. Talking entertainment, sports, literary greats, you name it, have been in that house. It is so important that we tell our story, brothers and sisters. So it's not history or her story, it's our story. And so I want to thank
Yes.
Sister Sajdah Wendy Muhammad, for coming
Yes.
on again. And we're going to have you back again, sister, as we get closer and closer to this. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. I'm asking you to make sure that you share it. Brother Jamil put in here that Dick Gregory was in the house.
Dick
James
Gregory,
Brown
James
was in
Brown,
the
Sam
house.
Cooke,
I mean, come on, man. Cool in the
Wilma
Gang.
Rudolph.
Wilma Rudolph, oh my God. And then I'm thinking about the Palace, Cool in the Gang playing in the Palace. I mean, y'all, if you really understood, oh, see, now he's putting names in there. Oh, they
Yeah.
coming in. Reverend Richard Tolliver.
That was
up
the
in
brother
there.
who was on the commission who gave his testimony.
That was him.
That was
Reverend Richard
him.
Tolliver.
Reverend Richard Tolliver.
All praises due to
Beautiful,
Allah.
beautiful testimony.
So I thank you, Sister Alethea. You've always been, one of those shining stars in the nation. We got a bunch of them, and I thank you for your faithfulness and your fidelity to this project and this process. And each and every one of us, I promise you, sister and brother, you're going to be very proud of this, and you're going to have a waiting list for this tour. But people are going to want to at least even just drive by the house and wave at it.
Yes.
When they know the history that's in here. So I want to thank you, Sister Sajdah. Any closing comments you want to make before we close out?
Just thank you to you. I always say when I call my cousins from down south,
Yeah.
they always come through for me. When you up north and people be messing with you, you say, wait till my cousins from down south get here. Well, my cousins then came through, got me on the show, and they always come through. And I just want to shout out you, your region, because most of our sponsors, coin sales, and support have come from your region. Hands down, 60 something percent of the 100% of total support has come from your region. And so I just want to thank you. I thank everybody. Let me tell you really quickly the sponsors. We have Elijah's Garden, that's sponsored by Brother Kasala and Sister Sadia Kareem. We have our exhibit on Mother Khadija Farrakhan, that is sponsored by Sister Kiana Mans. We have security that is sponsored by Sister Carolyn Muhammad. So these sisters, Sister Wakiti has been very instrumental in purchasing and selling the coins. It has been your region that has really gone all out with the support from Brother Ben X, who my nephew who had me on there. Brother Ben X moved coins like they water. I get on Brother Ben's show and it's like cha-ching, cha-ching. So I can just name, I don't even want to start naming. I shouldn't have started naming, but I just want to say, just hands down, no offense against no other region. We take support from other regions, but my cousins from down south, they always come through. And so I'm grateful for you and I thank you.
Your cousins in them.
My cousin them from down on. I told y'all stop messing with me because I'm going to call my cousins from down south.
All praises due to Allah. We thank you for God, you being a vessel that God would use.
Praise be to
Because I'm telling you, I'm down here in the big state of Texas. I'm watching these shows. You see, I got a library back here. And I got a whole section on Nation of Islam scholars, Dr. Wesley, others, authors. And it's not like we're not writing stuff, but that house and the history and what it really means to us, it'd be not just a book to read or a movie to watch. It's a place to go. It is an experience.
It's an
That
experience.
I am so looking forward to. And sister, I thank Allah for you letting Allah use you in this manner, seeking guidance from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and those that God has sent you.
Yes.
To help you.
Yes.
And guide you. And we're going to pray for your success. And I'm asking everybody
Thank you.
to step out and to help this effort by going on the website again. I got to find the website again, but go on that website, sajdahhouse.com, and make sure that you put in your order for the coin itself, brothers and sisters, and make the investment in the coin, get the discount code, tell them that you heard it on Connect the Dots. Take this show, share it. It's Facebook Live, but it's going to download, of course. Share it, send it out to people, let them watch it. Those of you who know how to take clips of it, take clips of this and do your thing with it. Share it on social media, cut it up, put it on Twitter, put it on Instagram. Take aspects of this, brother and sister, and help us with this house. As an urban planner, as a vocation, my advocation, of course, is ministry, but as a vocation in urban planning, I understand the significance of historic districts and this historic house in the historic district. So, brothers and sisters, come on. This is our chance. You know, it's not Wendy's house, it's not Halim's house. This is where the us, our, and we come in.
Yeah.
They're not going to remember Abdul Halim, but they're going to remember us, our, and we. I'm comfortable with being in the us, our, and we, and saying all praise is due to Allah. So, brothers and sisters, make sure you tune in tomorrow to NOI.org. If you believe what you heard today to be true and good for Black people, if you believe that this is something that you want to be involved in, go to NOI.org and make sure that you hit that join button. If you'd like to contribute to the ministry and the work of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, go to NOI.org and make a contribution. And make sure that you go on Final Call Radio. You can hear Farrakhan 24/7, finalcallradio.com. And also go to finalcallstore.com. You can get all of the writings, the teachings of Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the DVDs, the videos. I don't want to say tapes and stuff like that because I'll give away my age on that piece. And of course, go to finalcalldigital.com where you can get your digital edition of the Final Call newspaper delivered on your smartphone. Really make your phone smart.
Yeah.
By having the Final Call downloaded on that, or on your iPad, or on your desktop, or on your laptop. These are the things you want to do. And you can follow Sister Wendy. Where can we follow you on IG, sister?
You can follow me on @MoTodayUniverse or @Sajdah House, SAJDAHHOUSE.
All praise is due to Allah. So once again, brothers and sisters, we want to thank you, and we want to give Allah the praise for allowing us to use these sacred airways, not to abuse your ears and your time.
Yeah.
We thank you for taking time out. All we ask you to do is to share this message, send it out, and help us to promote the good that's being done. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it once, and I'm going to leave it alone. There's no room for envy in our nation. Our sister is shining because it's her time to shine. Your time is coming. As Sly and the Family Stone say, and Brother Jamil back me up, everybody is a star. I can feel it when you shine on me. So every one of us is a star. Find your place in the constellation of the other stars. And remember, you can't shine by putting shade on somebody else.
Come on now.
Give everybody their opportunity to do that which they got to do. So I close before I leave you with this commercial from our Nation of Islam. I'll say it like this. Brothers and sisters, get the truth, get organized, and get free. And remember, they, them, and theirs can never overcome us, our, and we, as long as we'll subordinate I, me, and mine. So until next time, brothers and sisters, may Allah bless you as I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Now we play this commercial. Oh. Well, let's see. Oh, here we are.
Greetings, dear listeners. We have been blessed by Almighty God Allah over the 90 years of our work in the Nation of Islam and lifting our people up from the miserable condition in which we find ourselves. We ask your support of our effort, and we hope that you will be generous generous and make a contribution to the work of the Nation of Islam and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan by clicking the button below or go to noi.org/donate. We thank you in advance for your support. May Allah God continue to bless you and your families. Assalamu alaikum.
Now you can get the same uncompromising truth you've come to expect from the Final Call newspaper on all your connected devices. Subscribe to the Final Call Digital Edition today. Go to subscribe.finalcalldigital.com.